All right, 2 years ago, we did the same kind of event. It was a presidential election cycle. We showed a map, what states could be pivotal and get flipped. Now it's what districts. So happens that the one I live in is maybe one of them. So I look at New York Times. It's a left-leaning publication. And so if I start to see that when you scroll down, what's nice, and you guys got this link in here, if you want it, I'm going to send it. Now, this isn't going to be as valuable to people watching this in the future. Just get a sense on how we're trying to prepare for different events. I'm going to send this link to everyone, but don't click on it yet until we get going here. Let me just walk you through some things when you're looking at it. So this is the New York Times. They're going to want more Democrats to win. I would think they're going to pump more people into this column. These are 3 columns: lean Democrat, toss-ups, and lean Republican. All right, let me restart this and say what's baked in the market as of now is the Democrats taking the House and the Republicans maintaining control of the Senate. The surprise would be what? Democrats do not take control of the House and the Republicans keep both chambers. I think knee-jerk, if there's that pivotal moment tonight, I think knee-jerk we rally and the market gets strong because of more certainty as maybe things can get done and there's not gridlock. I think it's bearish if the Democrats take both. There might be a small downside if it's proven they've taken the House, but not much, but more downside if they were to take the Senate, because the odds are almost like exactly the opposite. What do I mean by that? Well, from what I've picked up and what I've read and everything is that if you just follow me on this illustration, the House is like 80% roughly should flip to Democrats, and the Senate, just to put it in simple terms, or 80% should stay Republican. All right, so the odds are Republicans have majority after tonight in the Senate, 80%, and the Democrats have control of the House after tonight. And so that's why it's baked in the markets. Upside in equities, knee-jerk if the Republicans maintain both. Downside if they sneak in the Democrats and take over the Senate. My opinion is I don't think they changed the way they polled the last 2 years. And all you heard about after 2016 when Trump won is the pollsters got it wrong. I don't think they changed anything. So that's why we got to look for clues as to what's going to happen. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if you got 3 columns, you got lean Democrat, you got toss-ups, and you got lean Republican. And these are the ones that are in play. They need 23 seats to take the House back. But if they go like here, this is the one I'm in, and he's a Republican, all right, Illinois 6. He's a Republican, and they have it leaning Democrat. Make sense? So if it flips and goes red to blue, that's the +1 on their way to 23. All right. I'm looking at this column as well, which ones, if they're leaning Democrat, don't go like they were supposed to. What do I mean by that? Couple things. Number one, East Coast. If these are all supposed to go from red to blue, Republican to Democrat, and they start not, this is the East Coast, so we should get returns early on the East Coast, right? They forget about Nevada. This could be all pretty much a foregone conclusion by the time they start. Could be by the West Coast. So you look at Florida, right? It's an open seat, but it leans Democratic. Used to be held by a Republican. That's why it's a hollow spot. That's an East Coast going to report early because I believe we're going to look at the map, but I believe it's in the Miami area. My point is that if they're supposed to lean Democratic and they're held by Republicans, and it's the early East Coast returns, that could be a clue that the Democrats aren't going to pick up the 23. Then you could dig into the same thing, Republicans. If they're supposed to remain Republican and they don't, and you talk about the East Coast, right? And they do not, here's a couple, Florida and Georgia, and they don't, then all of a sudden, the Democrats have a better chance of taking it. What should have happened, they stay Republican, isn't happening. So I would stay on these two edges. It's like trading, you know what I mean? This is the POC, value area high and low. You look at a profile. But what's supposed to happen doesn't. It's supposed to go red, but goes blue, then it looks like the D's will take over. You don't have to wait for the official number count. You start to get a couple reds that's supposed to flip, and they don't. They're held. Illinois, Florida, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Virginia, West Virginia. All of a sudden, what do we got? We got a case where these guys might be keeping the House, and the market might start rallying. Oh, there's pivotal moments, but let's start watching these districts as they come in. Now, what's cool about, one thing I like about this is if I scroll down and go to the map, it's an interactive map, so don't go to this link just yet. These are the same leaning red, they lean Republican, or they're in red or pinkish. They're leaning Democrat or bluish, and their toss-up is yellowish. If you go and look at the East Coast, okay, that's the ones that I highlighted because these are going to get returns early. These polls close first. Do you remember, you guys remember 2 years ago when we were trading and I yelled out when it was a toss-up for Florida? It was kind of going, it was really tight. And then I thought, wait a second, the panhandle here is in a different time zone. So it reports later, and it's heavily Republican. And that's when I had said, Florida's going to go Trump, because they were like a toss-up with mainly a Republican bunch of counties yet to report. I don't know if you guys remember that. But anyhow, these are southern districts. Let's go into where I live. This guy, you know, what's funny is I'm right on, the guy that lives not too far from me worked for this guy. He was his chief of staff. And he's probably going to win, even though he's a toss-up, I'm being told. But he didn't live in his district. We're on this Roscombe district, which is supposed to go from Republican to Democrat. In the county I'm in, this is a district, not the county, but the county that makes up most of these two districts, and I told this before, is always been heavily Republican. But in 2016, Clinton won it. And it's odd because there's most of the people I know like Trump a lot better in here. And then they say women, educated college women. No, all the ones I know love Trump and really didn't like Clinton. But yet she won this district. If you go up here, and Fox News did a thing on this district, he talked about it's a wealthier district, 77% white, all the demographics that they were cutting out, but yet it might go Democrat. And that's mostly this district. Here you start to get into northern Illinois, and it's almost like might as well be in Wisconsin. Now that's further north. But these northern suburbs become affluent again, right up along the lake. These are two districts I didn't really know that were in play until I started digging into this Sunday night. And when I leave here, I'm going to go vote. And tonight, and maybe I should know this, but I think Roscombe is my congressman, but it's one of these two guys. And so when I turn on Fox and start digging into it Sunday night, what's the first district they talk about? This one. Like, geez. He's talking about us. Now, that's obviously polls close here at 7, which is 8 Central. We might know some pretty good races before we get this one. And because they're close, it might even be later on in the session, meaning the night, because they're close. Give me a second. Let me tell her yes. So now I got another site. Now this is a cool interactive map, and you could kind of back out of it. But what's important is if we could know early on these East Coast returns that what's supposed to be Democrat, leaning Democrat, going back down in here, stay Republican, and their East Coast, we might get a little bit of a head start. Or vice versa, what's supposed to lean Republican, go Democrat, East Coast returns, Florida. Let's go Florida 16, Florida 18, Florida 25. You go up to the map and you don't want to see these in the panel as different, but any of these are in East Coast and they close. The Florida 6th, the 25th, there's the 18th, there's the 16th. So all these pinkish are supposed to be red. If they come in blue, there's the information. All these light blues come in red, Republican, there's the clue. All right. So let's go to this other link that I'll give you guys, this other website Bloomberg points out or puts out. Let me give you guys, don't go to it until I go over it. I guess you could do what you want, but this was given to me by Paul, and I like it because it's going to fill in as they get it. You know what I mean? So it's like Democrats need 23 seats, look up here, to flip the House. So far, they've gained 0. So it'll be a real-time kind of keep it up. And what I think they did is they jam in all the counties or districts, what the House calls it, that are in play. And here's the Illinois district. Oh, here's all the Illinois districts. So when, I guess it's got every state, and you go to all the districts in the state. But we could start looking at returns to see which ones they flipped, but then look back to see the column of what they were supposed to do. So just like trading, what buyers are coming in, price should go up. Okay, that's not information. Buyers are coming in and it can't go up. It's a holy SHIT moment. And that's what it will be with these returns. Things are tight, and we can't pay attention too much of the media, because what does the media want? I don't care if it's right or left leaning media. They want you to watch. And they did it in the Trump-Clinton election 2 years ago. They could have called that race, but they all kind of get together, don't kid yourself, to press it, to keep people watching deep into the night as possible. So there's a motivation to not make any calls early. The market will make the calls. We knew when Trump was winning, when they started really cracking the S&Ps, remember? So this could be a nice interactive map as returns start to hit. I think we do got to watch the TV or a news channel, and I think different guys in the room will watch different channels. And I think we pull this up, and then there'll be some others you guys might see. Now, there was a much better chance of getting the kind of price action that we got 2 years ago than there is tonight. Tonight could be, a trap where you think it's bullish and maybe you buy it and you get shook out. So we got to be careful. But what we'll do is we'll try to tie in what's supposed to happen and what actually is happening. And that is going back to the reds and start to see some yellows go blue and some blues go red or red go blue. Then we could start getting a tell. Because I do think if there's that moment, let me illustrate this to kind of best show it. If there's that moment where we're going along through the night, and there's just that pivotal moment in the night where you do hear that Republicans are going to keep the House, if there's some sort of headline like that, I do think that's a moment where price in the S&Ps go up. So if there's a moment where they think the Republicans are going to keep it or Democrats are going to get the Senate, those are the surprises, will go up or down. And I think if you remember, the New York Times had that, remember they had that percentage, Clinton winning a 79%. And as election night went on, that was dropping and dropping and dropping. The market was actually trading off of that. We had a big update and it dropped below 50. We went down. And the only reason why the market went down, and we knew Trump wins, it's going to go down initially. Clinton wins, it'll go sideways or higher because they have it priced in. They don't like surprises. But once they collected itself, they actually rallied much faster than anybody would have thought. But it was the uncertainty. The market got it wrong and they had to reprice it in and scramble around. Right now, the market has the Senate staying Republican and the House flipping the Democrats. So what you need also to do is put your political affiliation aside. Market doesn't give an SHIT who you care or want to win, who you care about winning. All it cares about is what actually has happened. So leave your subjectivity at the door to give yourself the best chance to maybe trade some good locations and some big, the moments of a big rally or a big break. So again, just to summarize, Democrats supposed to keep or take the House, Republicans keep the Senate. The surprise is Democrat, Democrat, or Republican, Republican. Another kind of outcome is the market, there is no kind of clear moment. The Republicans are going to get it and we rally, so it just kind of drifts, you know what I mean? And net it goes up, but you didn't have that clear moment of a rally. But we might get some price action. I think it's, I'll put it to you guys this way. If I was backing a trader with my own money, yes, I'd want him in front of his screens for this. Especially if he was, you know, whether he was learning or whether he was being consistent. I think you should be in front of your screens for it. I'm trying not to do anything stupid, but that's should be the case every time you open up your screens. So if there's other better sites, bring them to you tonight at 7. And I might open a little earlier. I mean, it's going to be one of those things. I'll be in the team room and the trading room. But the trading room link is not this link, so don't get confused. The trading room link is the trading room link. So I have recorded this. This isn't as relevant to people watching it in the future, other than, hey, there's times politics matter. And I'm not trying to worry about what I care that happens. I just try to find those pivotal moments, and maybe we'll find them together. How many people are planning on coming tonight? Don't wear your pajamas, please. Could be a late night. You don't have, oh, you'll be in the team room, James. Dave's going to wear his jammies. So the ones with the footsies. Better that than what Carl's wearing. Aren't you in the room already, Bob? Hold on. I'll give you a thing. I'll give you one. Hold on. Here, it's easy. If someone were to ask you, let's say I was on TV and they said, "Oh, Anthony, what do you think is going to happen?" I'd say, "I don't know what's going to happen." It's easy for me to say that the Democrats are going to win the House and they're going to flip it by a smaller margin than people think, and Republicans will keep the Senate because that's conventional wisdom. The real information is when. When do we know that they're going to keep it? As early as possible through the night. Are the Democrats going to get the 23? Are the Republicans are going to fend them off? That's the more important question, because anybody that says they know, full of crap. Let me set you up, James. Put in your email address that you've been using. No, I'm talking about the trading here. That'll get you in, Robert. Brian, are you here? That's what, and I'll say this in reading some of your guys' comments about everybody that's a pundit and are put on the spot. You know, it's like it's if you're going to have an opinion, then either have it and be wrong, or say I don't know. Right? I don't know, or I'm wrong if the Democrats don't flip, because I really think they're gonna flip it. But don't say I think the Democrats are going to flip it. But if they don't, it'll be because white suburban women didn't do what you know. Give me that crap. Just tell me what you think. Tell me you don't know. Those are three great words. I don't know. Right? And just, uh, but here's what I think I will know. I think I'll know when some of these districts, if they flip like we went through today, maybe we'll know. Maybe we won't. I've always liked watching returns come in, though. So again, guys, watching this in the future, maybe you didn't even get to this point in the recording, but I'm going to cut the recording, and you could. We'll kind of what we'll do next week is go over if there was any opportunity tonight.